Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to a 12 o'clock live. And as you know, I only do lives at 12 o'clock if lots of relevant news has come out. And as you know, yesterday we signed Rafael Varane. We got our here we go from Fabrizio Romano. I was live at 2 o'clock yesterday, right after we got that here we go from Fabrizio Romano confirming the deal was done. And I was one of the first to just say like the deal was done and confirm what Romano said. But obviously in the hours after my live stream, obviously more and more details get released about the price, when the medical will be, what Varane's wages is, why did Varane choose United, and a lot more details of the transfer obviously got released later on in the evening yesterday after Romano's here we go. So in today's video, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter live stream, probably around 30-minute live stream, because I'll probably do one tonight talking about what's to come for United and all of that. But what we're going to be talking about in today's live stream, when we know Varane is all done, I'm going to give you all the details on Varane, everything you need to know, why it's a good signing. We'll just talk about when will Varane join up with the Manchester United team, when's he going to come to Manchester, when's his medical. We'll be talking about what's next in terms of who's next now we sign Varane, and a lot more. Also talking about the wages he'll be earning, the structure of the deal, the fee, how are United paying it, possible outs, and what's likely to come next for Manchester United. So please do hit that like button, subscribe down below, share this video, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news throughout the summer transfer window. But as I was saying earlier, we got our here we go from Fabrizio Romano yesterday. Varane is now a Manchester United player. Obviously, we have to wait for Manchester United to announce the deal is done. Obviously, he has a medical to undergo and a lot of that. But Varane is now a Manchester United player. So what's happened? So Simon Stone, a very, very reliable journalist, confirmed the transfer fee for Rafael Varane's move to Manchester United is £34 million, rising to £42 million in add-ons. £34 million, guys. £34 million, rising to £42 million in add-ons. That is the fee for Rafael Varane, and that is a bloody damn good fee. You know, Real Madrid needed to sell. He had 1 year left on his deal. Varane was pushing for the move. We were able to, you know what, mug Real Madrid off because we paid £16 million less for Varane than Arsenal did for Ben White. And I did a little bit of calculations and stuff. I thought, you know what? Okay, Varane was about £42 million. Sancho was £77 million, including add-ons, but it was really £34 million plus £72 million for the signing of Varane and Sancho, which means that Varane and Sancho cost us £106 million plus £13 million in performance-related add-ons, meaning we are paying £118 million in total for Varane and Sancho this summer transfer window, but we're paying that over 5 years. So 118 divided by 5, no idea. I'm going to say about 25 because, you know, 125 divided by 5 is 25. Minus 2 or 3. Let's calculate in my head. Probably paying about £22 million per year for combined Varane and Sancho. About £22 million per year. And I think, you know what, the fee for Varane, we did a good job. The fee for Sancho, we did a good job. I'm thinking, you know what, if that was Woodward, we'd be paying 400 million quid and we wouldn't be signing anyone else. But now I think about that, it's 118 million pounds to be paid over 5 years. So it's about 22 million pounds a year. I am actually just going to see if my quick maths in my head was right. 22 times 5. Oh, no, it's about £23 million a year, but we move. So we are paying about £23 million a year for Varane and Sancho over the next 5 years. And I believe because of that business that we've done, because we got 2 players for affordable price, I believe there will be a third signing. And we know with Manchester United, as soon as we signed Sancho, it went Varane, heart attack. You know what I mean? I reckon we're going to get some Camavinga, Trippier, Sal, Neves. We're going to get linked to some midfielders. I can call it. I'm going to talk about what's next for Manchester United. What's the plan? Obviously, I think the situation is, though, now we sign Varane, now we sign Sancho. That's our 2 main targets. Tick, I have to say, Fabrizio Romano said in May, Manchester United's #1 priority is Jadon Sancho, followed by a centre-back. That centre-back is believed to be Rafael Varane. And then he said after that, depending on the future of Paul Pogba and Donny van de Beek, Manchester United would like to sign a midfielder. Romano said that in May, that we want Sancho, boom. He said we want Varane, boom. He's got them right. He also said we want to sign a midfielder, but it depends on the future of Paul Pogba and Donny van de Beek and potential outs. And I think, you know what, if I listen to what Romano said in May, he hasn't been wrong. What everything Romano said in like April, May, he's not been wrong. So I'm listening to what Romano said in May, and I'm thinking, you know what? And it makes sense because he's kind of saying it again now. It is about who we can sell and then who we can buy, because United need one more signing. You know, we can keep Delo, fuck Trippier. We need one more signing. We know that's a CDM. We know that's a defensive midfielder. And I'm looking at the possible outs. I've written down what the possible outs could be. Okay, Lingard, you could get about £25 million for, maybe 20 if you get mugged off. Pogba's about 50 million quid. So Pogba and Lingard, 75 million quid. I put Delo and James Downs for £15 million each. So, you know, you can get £30 million combined for Delo and Daniel James, 50 million for Pogba, 25 million for Lingard, but I'm going to say 20 million. So that's 100 million for Pogba, Lingard, Delo and James. And then Martial, who's also rumoured to be for sale, is about 45 million. So you get about 150 million from those three outs. You've also got to think about the real Deadwood, Pereira, you know, he's a bit Deadwood Jones, what you get off your wages and all of that. You know, there's a lot of money to be made to now. I also think if Arsenal are going to pay 30 million for Ramsdale, I reckon we could get about 50 million for Dean Henderson at this rate. I mean, Arsenal are really being mugged off this transfer window, you know. They're going to pay the same price that we paid for fucking Varane just to get Ramsdale from the Championship as backup keeper. You know, Arsenal are really being mugged off, but I'm really, really enjoying that. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? That's what happens when you're not in Champions League. You get mugged off in the window because they know you're desperate. And, you know, if you buy from English players, you get that tax. But yeah, the situation is, for everyone joining the live stream, Varane has cost us £34 million, leading to 42 million in add-ons. The combined price of Varane and Sanchez is 106 million plus 13 million in add-ons, going to 118 million pounds to be paid over 5 years, which is about 23.5 million pounds per year being paid. Julian Maynard, semi-reliable journalist, said everything is complete for Rafael Varane's transfer to Manchester United. He is contracted to 2025 with an option for another year and all of that. United can add on another year. So he's got a 4-year contract with an option to extend the year. The deal could take place next week as Varane has the quarantine. So everyone's wondering when's the deal going to take place? And that could be next week because of Varane's quarantine. When will Varane be flying to the UK? And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, there's rumours about him flying out Wednesday, which is tomorrow, but it all depends on the quarantine. But he will be flying out as soon as possible. Thank you very much for the super chat. But that's exactly what I'm going to address. So, you know, Varane's got a 4-year contract with an option to extend to a 5-year contract, so he can be a player up until 2026. But they think the deal might not take place till next week because he will have to quarantine upon arriving in England. Now, he can arrive in England tomorrow, he could arrive in England tonight, but it will be frustrating because he has to do, like, at least 5 days quarantine to, you know, sort himself out. Mohamed Basfini, a very, very reliable journalist, talked about what Varane's contract is, what the price of Varane is, and all of that. He said an agreement reached between Manchester United and Real Madrid for the transfer of Rafael Varane is around 50 million euros, which is 42 million pounds. Simon Stone said it's 34 million pounds, rising to 42 million in add-ons. Mohamed Bassini says 50 million euros, that's 42 million pounds. He said, as announced by the Athletic, the contract is 4 years plus 1 year optional to extend. The player must respect quarantine to return to England. Medical visit at the start of the week. So he's saying a medical visit at the start of the week. But he has to respect the England quarantine rules. So I think Varane, in terms of flying out, is going to fly out ASAP. The medical is imminent. It just depends on the quarantine rules. When, like, he can fly out now. It just depends, like, when can he do his medical because of the quarantine rules, by the way. But then, you know what, Italy flew to Wembley to play in the Euros and had to quarantine for 2 days. So I think United can just work around it. What did Fabrizio Romano have to do and follow up on this story? So Fabrizio Romano said Manchester United are preparing the paperwork to Rafael Varane. Done deals as reported today. He said the official announcement is after the details will be sorted. He said the fee again is around 50 million euros. So the fee is 42 million pounds, including add-ons. He says Varane's camp is still waiting for quarantine rules, but he's expected to fly to England this week. Romano also confirmed that Varane is expected to fly to England this week. He also said Rafael Varane's unveiling as a Manchester United player is expected next week due to quarantine rules. Varane's camp is still working on it. He said Romano also said this, guys, this is what you want to know. The deal is 100% done. The deal is 100% done, says Fabrizio Romano. Varane will fly to Manchester this week, but will undergo his medical a few days later because of the quarantine rules. Official planning soon. So, the situation with Varane, to sum up everything I said, is £34 million plus 42 million add-ons. He's rumoured to earn 11 million euros a year, which is about £9 million a year. He will be on a 4-year contract with an option to extend for a 5th year. So he's contracted to 2025. We can extend that until 2026. He's going to fly to England this week, but he might have to wait a few days to do his medical. And I think the Manchester United official announcement for Varane won't be until next week. They're probably planning an announcement video and all of that. But as David Ornstein said as well, Varane will cost 34 million pounds plus, and also £34 million, 42 million in total for Rafa Varane, guys. That is the details on the Varane situation. Absolute fucking bargain. What do you say? Absolute bargain, in my opinion. I'm going to read out a few live chats in just a second. We're also going to talk about what is next for Manchester United. A few rumours about who our next signing could be as well. But I also want to get your thoughts on the Varane situation. So any questions for me, please do pop them down below. If we paid 60 million GDP, I would have said that's a steal for Varane. So to see, we seem to be paying this is amazing deal. Yeah, honestly, I would have said Varane's £50 million player. I would have said Varane's £50 million player. To get him for £34 million, I think is a steal. Callum says, sell Jesse and James and buy a good midfielder. I agree. You could probably get about £40 million combined for Jesse Lingard and Daniel James. You've got Amad Diallo, you've got Palestra, you've got Martial, but you've got Cavani, Sancho, Greenwood. Why are you worried about James and Lingard? They're not going to offer much this season. You know, I know Lingard's been brilliant and he's good enough, but he's not going to offer much. So I agree. You could get about 40 million for James and Lingard. Varane's CV is impressive. 1 World Cup, 4 Champions Leagues, 3 La Ligas. I mean, he's won everything under the sun. He's got one of the best CVs in football, and I think his experience is going to be crucial. Funny thing is, according to Samuel Luckhurst, Varane had already studied snippets of Manchester United's defending and specifically asked for clips of their set-piece organisation, but he was informed it would be a waste of time as United were hopeless at defending dead ball situations, which is a bit of a funny story. I thought it was a troll account, and then I realised it was a quote from Samuel Luckhurst. Rumours are that Varane will earn €11 million per year at Manchester United, and James Ducker of The Telegraph, semi-reliable journalist, I think he's a reliable journalist, said that Solskjaer would like a defensive midfielder to add to the squad, and the club has a firm interest in Trippier as well. Manchester United have been sounding out potential midfield targets. So James Ducker, a reliable journalist, confirmed that we do like we do want a central midfielder, but we also do like the look of Kieran Trippier, and those deals could be next. This guy says, given the Sancho and Varane deal's done, what is next? Another player in or another player out? Because out is more important. I think there will be a few more outs. It'll be interesting to see the future of Daniel James, Lingard, Pereira, Jones, all players we need to sell. But you know, Man United don't like to let go of players. We gave Lee Grant, who's absolutely shit, a new 1-year deal. We gave Mata a new 1-year deal. I mean, we have to, considering we gave Mata a new 1-year deal, there would be no reason to keep Jesse Lingard because Mata plays right mid and cam, okay? Jesse Lingard plays right mid and cam, okay? You don't need both because you've got 2 players ahead of them in the right mid position and you've got Bruno ahead of them in the cam position. You don't need 2 backups for Bruno and you don't need 2 backups for Greenwood and Sancho. So I think it'll be silly if Lingard stayed now because of the 1-year deal. And I think with Man United, they're trying to get as much money as they can for Lingard. And I think Lingard will leave right at the end of the transfer window. You know, I did say I'm quite good at calling these transfers. I said in May, I think we're going to get Sancho. And I think if we can beat PSG, we'll get Varane. And I'm going to predict we sell Jesse Lingard right at the start, right at the end of the transfer window to West Ham. Last week, I think we'll sell Jesse Lingard and all of that. The Manchester Evening News have reported that Manchester United are still open to signing another centre-back even after agreeing a deal to sign Varane, which is very, very interesting. And apparently that centre-back could be Jules Koundé. However, that story came from the Mirror. Obviously, we know Jules Koundé was our second-choice centre-back behind Varane. And according to the Mirror, you know, we also want Jules Koundé as well as Varane because Jules Koundé can play at right-back. However, that story came from the Mirror, so please definitely do take that story with a pinch of salt. Please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new to the channel and you're not subscribed. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe to our channel because all the support would be much appreciated. We're going to be live again tonight talking about what's next. Now the Varane deal's done, we'll talk about what's next tonight. And also tomorrow we've got the live watch along for Manchester United versus Brentford. Hopefully a pre-season game that we will win. I don't want to lose 2 pre-season games in the world. Varane to Sancho, think we're winning the league. Still think we need a CDM. We now have a back line of Luke Shaw, Varane, Sancho and Maguire. I think that's a very good back 4 line. We'll talk about that in later's live stream. And Adam Talk Sport says, is Varane going to be the difference for Manchester United? I think Varane has potential to be the difference for Manchester United because I've said this time and time again on the channel, when you play Varane, He has experience and he has pace. You do not need McFred. McFred only play when Lindelof and Maguire play together. You don't see McFred in front of Bayern Maguire. You don't see McFred in front of Stuart Xavier Maguire. McFred is Lindelof Maguire protection, okay? Now you take Lindelof out, you put Maguire in. All of a sudden, Wan-Bissaka does not need to tuck in and just completely protect Lindelof. He's got Varane there. Hopefully, Wan-Bissaka's positioning will improve. Maguire will look better next to Varane because Maguire looks better next to John Stones. Maguire looks better next to Eric Bailly. Maguire looks better next to Stuart Xavier. Maguire looks better than next to anyone other than Lindelof. Okay, you don't have McFred. When you don't have McFred, you can play a more expansive attacking style of football, which means we get more on the ball and we can create more chances for our attackers and play better football. So no McFred when you get Varane in, better football going forward. You get Varane in, Wan-Bissaka improves defensively, Maguire improves defensively. Also, Varane has pace. You can play a higher line. You play a higher line, you higher up the pitch, you put more press out the pitch, you're more likely to score goals. Varane's experience is also needed. We are awful at defending set pieces. Varane is an experienced leader in set pieces. Only Leeds conceded more set piece goals than us last season. Varane comes in, improves set pieces. Maguire's good at set pieces, but Lindelof was our set piece weakness. And then you've got Varane and Maguire on set pieces. So there's lots of little benefits from Varane coming in, and I think Varane's going to have a big benefit on Manchester United. I think Varane's going to be a big signing. So yeah. Andrew says, good thing we've got the Varane done now with the isolation period and medical test. Best to be done sooner rather than later. Again, which is a solid point. Now Varane is in, and it's all done. You have the whole of August to focus on transfers, but it also means Varane and Sancho will be ready for the game on August 14th versus Leeds. Varane and Sancho will be able to play in those games. Sancho will be back for the Everton pre-season friendly, and Varane could possibly be involved in the pre-season friendly versus Everton next week. So you might even get to see Varane and Sancho in a pre-season friendly as well. And Andrew and Steve said good transfers. They are good transfers. The Promiser says we will get Neves. Possibly. I think the rumours about Neves will escalate in the next week. Camavinga wants Spain. There are rumours that Camavinga wants Spain, but we're waiting for Romano to talk about Camavinga. And Romano says he's going to give a Camavinga update in the next couple of hours/days. I think there is going to be a Camavinga update from Romano in the next few days because we know that is our third choice signing. Now we've obviously got the Varane deal over the line. Obviously, the Justin from ESPN is Manchester United are prepared to listen to offers for 8 members of the squad, including Martial, Dan James, and Phil Jones, and all of that. And obviously, James Ducker said that Solskjaer would like a defensive midfielder in the squad. We're talking about the future of Manchester United, and the operation to sign Rafael Varane from Real Madrid was clean, with no problems. That was obviously more story coming out. And L'Equipe, a very reliable source, says Rafael Varane's transfer to Manchester United is now set to be made official following his medical, which is expected to take place tomorrow, although subject to change due to travel. So apparently Varane's medical is meant to take place tomorrow, which is Wednesday, which was reported yesterday. But due to travel and quarantine, he might have to wait till the end of the week. So he might be flying to England tomorrow, but he might have to wait till the end of the week for his medical, which is a little bit annoying because I think we could have maybe got him ready for that Everton game. And I do worry, is he going to be 100% ready for that Everton game? And all of that. So that's a bit more news since Varane. It's also been known since March that Varane wanted to leave Real Madrid. His first choice was never to stay. He's leaving for sporting reasons and a personal decision he made a long time ago. He wants to go to the Premier League. That's a little bit more on Varane. And Romano says that Varane's transfer will be announced next week because of quarantine rules. So he probably won't be announced this week. They might do a little announcement like they did for Sancho where they just say like he's joined, but they won't do their official announcement until next week because of the quarantine rules. And Mohamed Basfini, a very reliable Tier 1 journalist, said that Rafael Varane must quarantine once he arrives in England. His people and Man United are working on this, but there may be a minimum of 5 days. Medical to be started next week. So he has to quarantine for 5 days. So Varane is going to fly into England on Wednesday, but he might not be able to do his medical till Monday, which means he would be announced on the following Wednesday. So Varane probably won't be announced till next week. That's sort of the latest on the Varane situation for all of you guys coming in. Please do hit that like button, subscribe down below and share this video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Varane has cost us £42 million, £34 million plus £8 million in add-ons. So £42 million for Varane, £72 million for Sancho plus add-ons. So £118 million for Varane and Sancho as a combined fee. That's £10 million less than Arsenal pay for Pepe and Ben White. And we get to pay that fee over 5 years. So that will be about £23.5 million played over 5 years for both of those players, meaning we have the budget left for a CDM and a midfielder. And considering we can get £25 million for Lingard, 15 million for Daniel James, 15 million for Delo, and even up to 50 million for the likes of Pogba and Martial, who could be sold this summer, I think we're going to get a lot of monies in out as well. And I think there will be room for a third signing. We do know that Declan Rice is Ollie's first choice CDM. However, if we want Declan Rice, we'd have to sell Paul Pogba or raise a significant amount in outs. So I think the more realistic options are your £30 million players, which could be Ruben Neves if he pushes to leave Wolves. It could be Camavinga. I think we won't be going for players like Declan Rice, Saul Niguez or Goretzka unless Paul Pogba leaves, or unless we get something like 40, 50 million for Martial. But we do know we want a midfielder next, but we do know that does depend on outs. And I think it's really important that you do get rid of the likes of Daniel James and Lingard, because they can get you 40 million combined, and I think you could invest that 40 million right in a good CDM. There's a lot of good young CDMs out there. Tuchemini, I can't say his name, the one at Monaco, Palinha, Sakaria, Camavinga, Basuma. You could get the money you get selling Lingard and James, you could get Basuma with as well. So that'd be awesome. Plus, Arsenal really want Basuma to partner Thomas Partey, so I think it would be like a big banter to Arsenal if we got Basuma. And I always said this, we're in a position now, we've got our centre-back sorted, we've got our right wing sorted, we've got over a month to get our midfielder, so we can't get mugged. Now you've got a month to sign a midfielder, it's unlikely we're going to get mugged off now, We do often get mugged off in the transfer window, but it's unlikely we're going to get mugged off now because of how much time that we do have to sign a midfielder. So I actually do think about it and look at the situation if you think about it, we have a whole month. Why don't we go for Basuma? Brighton want Daniel James. We could give them Daniel James 20 million and say we'll give for James Garner on loan. I always think that's what United should do as well. Please hit that like button, subscribe down below, and share this video. I'm going to read out a few live chats. We need to sell regardless, offset spending, lower the wage bill, and open up signings and youth. Too many senior fringe players. Exactly. Very, very good point here. We got Varane and we've got Sancho in. I don't know why we've given players like Mata a new 1-year deal. Apparently, we're going to keep Daniel James because of Rashford's injury. I'm in a situation where if you watch the pre-season friendly versus QPR, Pellistri offers more than Daniel James. Shaqiri looked better than Daniel fucking James. Amad Diallo, whenever he's played for Man United in the few minutes he got, looked better than Daniel James. Amad Diallo and Daniel James played versus Wolves, played versus Leicester. Who was the better of the two? Amad fucking Diallo. This is a situation. I like Daniel James. He's Premier League quality. He's a good player. He works hard, but he's not Manchester United quality. You can get £15 million for him, cash in, because Pellistri, Amad Diallo could be Manchester United quality. Shaqiri could be Manchester United quality. And when they're on the ball, they look better than Daniel James. Amad Diallo had 2 starts for Man United. He's got a goal and assist. And if it wasn't for Daniel James missing a sitter, he'd have 2 assists. Shaqiri, he's played, 90 minutes for Manchester United in pre-season, got 2 assists. Look at that. Pellistri goal and assist in pre-season. That's 3 up-and-coming wingers that need game time. But because you give him Mastro a new 1-year deal, Amad Diallo is going to get less game time. Because you sign Sancho, they're all going to get less game time. But if you keep Dan James, none of them are going to get game time. Because I guarantee you could have Pellistri, Amad Diallo and Shaqiri on that bench, but he'd sub on Dan James and Mata. And at the end of the day, yes, Dan James and Mata might be more experienced, but we know what they offer. They don't offer anything that's going to make us a Premier League winning club. And they're never going to be Premier League winning players anymore. Mata's obviously past it. Daniel James can be a Premier League player, but he's not the type of player you can see scoring 20 goals a season. Amad Diallo and Pellistri, they're young. They actually look better than Daniel James on the ball. They have potential to do that. And I do think it's really important that, look, Daniel James, I like you, you need to go. Lingard, I like you, you need to go for your career because you're just going to be benched behind Bruno and Sancho. Lingard, for your career, go. £40 million in Lingard and James, sell them. Spend that £40 million you get from selling Lingard and James on a CDM. Basuma, that will pay for Basuma. Camavinga, if you can get him. I mean, even Saul Niguez that could get. I know he's not a CDM. Goretzka, Neves, that will cover Neves. Sakaria out there, Tuchemini, Palinha, so many good CDMs like that. That is what Manchester United need to do, because we've done business really well so far. £42 million for Varane. That includes add-ons, £34 million plus 8 million add-ons for Varane. Obviously, £72 million for Sancho plus 5 million in add-ons. £118 million including add-ons to be paid over 5 years for Sancho and Varane. That's very, very good. That means we're paying £23 million a year for the next 5 years for those 2 top signings. But to top off this transfer window, get rid of your deadwood so the youngsters have a pathway through, and obviously sign a CDM. I'll say it once and I'll say it twice. 9 players need to be gone. About time they had their balls cut. This is me. Pereira, Jones must leave. Daniel James should go. Mata should have gone. Lee Grant should have gone. Lingard should go for his career. I think we could get 20 million for Eric Bailly. I think Matic should go and he should be replaced by an out-and-out CDM. And I just think we've got so much deadwood at this club. There's 8 players for me that I would personally sell. So much deadwood and all of that. Only 11 likes needed for 100 likes, so please do hit that like button if you have not hit that like button. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I do daily transfer content on the channel, so please do subscribe to the channel and all that. Malp says we need a CDM desperately, and I agree with you. And someone said they reckon Matic will leave the season. Matic won't leave this season. Matic will leave next season. The reason Matic won't leave this season is because we don't know if we're going to get a CDM or not, and we don't know if James Garner's ready or not. Now, I have to say, James Garner and Dylan Levitt played quite well together versus QPR. When Dylan Levitt came on, James Garner looked better. But when James Garner had to play with Pereira, he was doing the holding on his own because Pereira couldn't defend. I don't think James Garner's ready to play as a holding CDM on his own. We know Ollie wants to play the 4-3-3 next season. We know that. And that's why he tried the 4-3-3 versus QPR. Now, we tried James Garner as the holding DM. And in fairness to James Garner, he had Pereira. Like, maybe if you try James Garner as a holding DM with Pogba and Bruno, it could be a different result. But James Garner struggled. Ollie went back to the 4-2-3-1, put James Garner and Dylan Levitt in the pivot. James Garner looked better. Dylan Levitt was brilliant. Showed Pereira levels. You know, Ollie wants to play the 4-3-3, but we don't think James Garner is ready yet. He does need a Premier League loan. So that's the James Garner situation. Boom. We know Matic has only got the legs to play about 45 minutes every 3 games. And Matic was fucking awful versus Championship QPR. Matic doesn't have the legs. Ollie can't play the 4-3-3 he wants to play next season unless he gets a CDM, because Fred is a box-to-box. Casemiro played CDM, Fred played box-to-box, and Casemiro, Fred was brilliant. McTominay's best games for Manchester United have been as a box-to-box. Whenever McTominay plays in a pivot and he can't go forward, he's shit. When McTominay's allowed freedom to go forward or play as a box-to-box, he's very, very good. Donny, McTominay, Fred, and Pogba are box-to-box midfielders. Ollie wants to play a 4-3-3. The big thing about signing Rafael Varane is Ollie can now play a 4-3-3. The reason we couldn't play a 4-3-3 before is because Maguire and Lindelof do not work as a partnership. They are slow. They are prone to the long ball. You know, you can't play a 4-3-3 with Maguire and Lindelof. That's why we had to play Fred and McTominay sit so deep whenever Maguire and Lindelof played. Because as I said, you know, when you play Maguire and Bailly, we didn't have McFred. When you play Maguire and Tuanzebe, we didn't have McFred. Now Varane's coming instead of Lindelof. Ollie doesn't need to play this 4-2-3-1, sit deep, protect the centre-backs. Ollie knows now he's got Varane, he can play the 4-3-3 he wants to play. But you can't play the 4-3-3 unless you have a CDM, and United don't have a CDM. Now we know that Camavinga could be the next transfer deal, but he's not ready. He can't hold on his own. You know, he play well in the pivot with Pogba. He could mould him into a Kante-like type player. He's 18. He's a brilliant long-term investment. But there's only a few players out there that can actually hold as a CDM on their own. And Didi and Declan Rice are Premier League proven. Sakaria has potential to do it. Basuma has potential to do it. Neves, to me, doesn't do it, but he can play in the pivot with Pogba and being maybe a defensive improvement on Fred and McTominay. But there's only a limited amount of players that can hold as a CDM. And if I look at what Ollie was trying to do in pre-season, I know he's got Varane in. He doesn't want to play this 4-2-3, but he wants to play a 4-3-3 like he did post-lockdown when Matic was good. You know, Matic, Pogba, Bruno in the midfield. He wants to play that 4-3-3 expansive style of football. He's got Varane in, so he doesn't need to think about protecting the defence. He knows his fullbacks are solid. He knows that Varane and Maguire are solid centre-backs. He needs that CDM to finish off the puzzle. The attack is sorted. So I think it's really important that Man United do sell Lingard, we do sell James, get 40 million for those two, and invest that 40 million we get for those two players in a CDM. Because as I said, we're only playing £24 million across 4 years for Varane and Sancho. We got them for 106 million, rising to 180 million in add-ons for those two players, which is good business. So it's about selling the deadwood and it's about getting the CDM. Next, and we do know that we do want a CDM. Romano said at the start of the transfer window, we want Sancho number 1 priority, number 2 priority is Varane, and then we want a CDM, but it depends on outs. So that's what we do know. This guy says, what do you think about Sal? Could he play the role Thiago played for Liverpool, or would you prefer Ndidi? Personally, I would prefer Ndidi because you can play a 4-3-3 and Ndidi. I do think Varane's coming in to improve us so much play-wise. If we don't, we will be better than we were. But top prime HDM is advisable. Yeah, even if Varane isn't up to the level he used to be, he's definitely an improvement on Lindelof, even if he flops. I'm just going to have a quick drink of water, but any questions for me, please do comment them down below in the live chat. Daniel says, No excuses. Ollie needs to win something next season. I think now you've got Sancho, now you've got Varane. We just need to win at least an FA Cup or even the shitty Carabao Cup that no one cares about. I think if I was being realistic, I still don't think we can win a Premier League or a Champions League until we get that CDM that we need. Until we get a CDM, I don't think we can win a Premier League or a Champions League. However, I think, especially if Man City sign Grealish and Kane, however, I do think Ollie has to win a trophy next season. Daniel Fleming says, I reckon West Ham should try side Daniel James. If Man U were selling, he'd be good for us. I think Dan James would be good for West Ham. I think he'd suit West Ham, to be fair. But I think Daniel James would be very, very good at Brighton or Leeds, where they play a little bit more expansive. Alanga looks better than Dan James as well. We have enough to cover DJ. Let him go, even with Rashie injured. Yeah, the reason we wanted to sell Daniel James, now we're worried with Rashford's injury. Now we don't want to sell Dan James, but Alanga, Sholatiri, Amad Diallo and Palestri, I think would generally offer more than Dan James next season. If I was Dan James, I'd be saying, look, Dan James, you're Premier League quality. If you stay at Man United, you're not going to play that many games in the Premier League. If you go to Leeds, if you go to Brighton, you get to play more expansive style of football where they're going to leave you more space in behind against those teams. So it's going to be better for you as the player. You're going to get more game time and you can establish yourself as a regular player. Dan James could get game time. Man United can get £15 million. We're not going to use him anyway. And he's blocking Amad Diallo's future. He's blocking Palestri's future. He's blocking Sholatiri's future. He's blocking Alanga's future. Sell Daniel James, cash in on him. He's not United level. That's what I think we should do. And if I was Daniel James, I would just want to leave as well for game time. Only 11 likes needed for 100 likes, so please do hit that like button. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new to the channel. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. We are 30 subscribers away from 15.6k, 30 subs away from 15.6k. So it'd be awesome if people could subscribe and all of that. Someone said, hi, Alice. Hi, loads of people saying hi. There's any news from Mohamed Bousfini? He just confirmed that the Varane price is 50 million euros, which is 42 million pounds, including add-ons. It's obviously 34 million pounds, rising to 42 in add-ons. Mohamed Bousfini said that says that Varane medical wanted to be Wednesday, but due to quarantine rules, it might not be till next week. But Varane is going to fly out to Manchester ASAP. And, you know, we've got those Manchester United fans that like to track flights from Madrid to Manchester. So, you know, those Manchester United fans will probably tell us on Twitter what flight Varane is on, but I'm assuming he'll be getting a flight to Manchester within the next 24 hours. We know he was actually looking at houses in Manchester, but he might have to quarantine for about 5 or 6 days in Manchester for his medical. And Fabrizio Romano said that the deal will be announced next week. So £42 million to be paid over 5 years, a 4-year contract with the option to extend. He's making about £9 million a year, which is not too bad as well. I wish I could get £9 million a year. So very, very good deal for Varane. That is all done. Now we have time to focus on the midfield situation and the outs. You need to get Rice. I think we can get Declan Rice. I think we should get Declan Rice. But I think the only chance Manchester United have getting Declan Rice is if Paul Pogba leaves, because we don't have the money for Declan Rice. We could offer 50 million plus Jesse Lingard, but we need to get that 50 million. So that 50 million could be raised by selling Pereira, Jones, Lingard and Daniel James. We could get that 50 million, but you know United like to keep their deadwood. But we need to raise that 50 million in outs and get and then we can use well, actually we can't use Lingard if we're going to use him in the swap deal. We could use Lingard, then we need to sell maybe Daniel James, maybe a goalkeeper, and raise the funds to get Declan Rice. I think that's the only way you get Declan Rice if Paul Pogba goes. Paul Pogba stays. Sorry, I think if Paul Pogba goes, you need to invest in a CDM, not a Paul Pogba replacement, because Donny, Fred, and McTominay can all play box to box. So, and if Ollie wants to play a 4-3-3, we've seen that Matic and Donny worked in the 4-3-3. Let's just get an out-and-out CDM. Donny Van de Beek, Bruno, if Pogba goes, play a 4-3-3 next season as well. I think we should sell Rashford, Greenwood, Martial, Pogba. Only joking. I was going to say you'd be crazy. That'd be Jose Mourinho talking. Please vote for Alice Talks Up. I have been go to the Football Content Awards. I will copy a link at the end of this video, and do vote for me. Thank you for reminding me, Diego, and all of that. And Lindelof and Matic, Papa. Lindelof and Matic need to go. This is the thing. Varane replaces Lindelof. Boom. We need a Matic replacement. Get that done. Martial can play on the left, so can Sancho. We don't need Daniel James. I 100% agree. And yeah, I can't pronounce his name, so you know, it is what it is. I can't pronounce that journalist's name. And D. James generally feels he is United quality which is why he stays and fights for his place, but someone around him needs to tell him he needs to move on. If I was Daniel James, I'd move on for his career. And with Varane's done, who is next? I think we're going to be looking at Trippier and Camavinga. I think they're the two deals that we're going to be massively linked around. The reason I say Camavinga over all the other midfielders is because we know from Fabrizio Romano that Rennes will sell Camavinga. We know from Fabrizio Romano that Manchester United have actually held talks with Camavinga and his agent and Rennes. And we know from Romano that even if Paul Pogba stays, it does not affect us going for Camavinga. We will go for Camavinga whether Paul Pogba stays or goes. Players like Declan Rice, we will only go for if Paul Pogba leaves because we need the funds. And now the Paul Pogba future is so uncertain. You know, he could go to PSG, he might not go to PSG. I think the Paul Pogba future will be, we'll figure out what's happening in the next 2 weeks. But I say Camavinga and Trippier will be the two players we'll link to next. However, Trippier can depend on the Dalot future and how much Madrid are willing to cash in on him. And Camavinga is rumoured to want Madrid. So if Camavinga wants Madrid, it's going to be hard for United to do that deal. But now we've got the Varane done, we could focus on trying to convince Camavinga to join us. Get James Garner. I think James Garner needs a loan. I think he's not ready to hold on his own. I think he can do a decent job on the pivot, but he's not ready to hold on his own. Michael Jones says Basuma. I agree we should get Basuma. With Cavani's age and injury record and Mason's inexperience in adapting to playing through the middle, I would keep Martial. I keep Martial to play on the left as backup for Rashford's injury and for the same reasons that Andrew mentioned. And Brighton are not going to let go of Basuma this season. They've got 50 million for Ben White, so they're probably going to ask for like 100 million for Basuma at this rate. And we only need players who want to play for us. I agree. This is the thing about Manchester United. In the last 3 years, we have changed our approach to transfers. I think we've gone for this whole. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said it when he was first permanent manager. He said, we now want players that view Manchester United as a step up in their career. They want to come to Manchester United. They want to play for the badge. We're doing a lot of these high wages Galactico signings, Di Maria, Falcao, Alexis Sanchez. We kind of just came to Manchester United for the money. They flopped. Maguire, we overpaid for him, but he didn't come to Manchester United for the money. He came because it's a step up in his career. Wan-Bissaka came because it's a step up in his career. Bruno came because it's a step up in his career. Sancho's coming because it's a step up in his career. Varane's coming because he sees a project. These are all good signings. These are, in the past, Man United had this problem of signing players that wanted to use us to get big fucking high wages. I think now Manchester United have been a lot more efficient than Transfermando, and I think these transfers that we signed are also less likely to flop. DK says Varane official. Fabrizio Romano says that Varane deal is 100% done. Romano's confirmed Varane to Manchester United is 100% done, okay? The situation, though, with Varane is obviously because of quarantine stuff. He was originally going to come in, fly in today, do his medical tomorrow, but because of quarantine, Varane might have to quarantine for at least 5 days before he can do his medical. So Romano says the Varane announcement will be next week. What Manchester United might do is they might announce Varane on social media, but they won't do an announcement video to next week. But Varane obviously is 100% done. The deal is 100% done. He just needs his medical, then he will be announced. It's exactly the same as Sancho. We knew when we were playing the Euros final, Sancho was 100% done. He just needed to have his medical, then be announced. Varane's medical was impending. He wanted to have his medical tomorrow. Man United wanted to do the medical tomorrow, Wednesday, but it also depends on quarantine rules. But the situation with Varane is it's £34 million, rising to £42 million in add-ons, which will be paid over 4 years. He's got a contract until 2025, earning €11 million a week with an option to extend till 2026. He will fly out from Madrid to Manchester tonight or tomorrow. He will probably have to isolate for at least 5 days before he can do his medical, and it will be officially announced as a Manchester United player next week. But the Varane deal is 100% done. There is nothing to worry about regarding Varane to Manchester United. Mohamed Bouhassi. I can't pronounce the name. Sancho won't flop because he wants to be here. Obviously, we're talking about Varane and Sancho wanted to come to Manchester United. They didn't want to come to Manchester United for wages. Varane wanted a new challenge. He wanted to play for Manchester United, and Sancho wanted to play for Manchester United. And they're less likely to flop because they want to come to Manchester United. They view it as a change in their career for Varane or a step up in their career for Sancho. Players that flopped, Falcao, Di Maria, Sanchez, we offered them massive wages to come. They never wanted to come to Man United. We just offered them the highest wages. Varane wanted to come to United. Sancho wanted to come to United. And that's why I'm not too worried about them flopping. Especially with Sancho, because he's such a young player. Even if he has one bad season, he can redeem himself like Kai Havertz. Varane is a baller. Tellez, when fit, can play left wing. He isn't a left back, says Michael Jones. I'd rather Tellez play left wing than fucking Daniel James. Someone mentioned Calvin Phillips. We won't get Calvin Phillips this summer. I think Declan Rice is more affordable, not affordable, more doable. Are we going to really sign a Leeds player? I would be shocked. Daniel Fleming says that Basuma will be solid for Man U alongside Pogba, Camavinga and Donny van der Beek Exactly. I hope we go for someone like Basuma. I think we could do that deal. You know, if you sell Lingard and Daniel James, you can get 40 million for those two. Invest that in Basuma because now we've got that centre back. Boom. Now we've got that right winger. Boom. What do we need? A CD fucking M. A CDM and all that. Koundé could be going to Madrid. We have been linked to Jules Koundé as well as Varane, but we signed a centre back, so I'm not really interested in. We're going for Jules Koundé as well. News. And why was I timed out? I have no idea. But yeah, the latest. So what I want to talk about, guys, is please, of course, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. I do daily Manchester United content on the channel. Obviously, yesterday I announced that we officially signed Varane. Once we got our Romana, here we go. And today's video is just giving you more details on Varane, on what is next for Manchester United after we have signed Rafael Varane. So please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. There could be a live stream tonight talking about the latest on Camavinga and Trippier. We know that Fabrizio Romano is going to do a Camavinga update. So there might be a live stream tonight giving you the latest on what's happening with Camavinga and Trippier, about players that could be sold. I think Eric Bailly could be sold now Varane has come in. And all of that. So there will be a live stream tonight, probably updating you on those players if we get the Camavinga update from Fabrizio Romano. There will also be a live stream tomorrow at 7:55 p.m. for the Manchester United versus Brentford watch-along. So I will be alive again tomorrow night for Man United versus Brentford watch-along. So as well as transfer news, I will be reacting to the pre-season games and doing watch-alongs to the pre-season games, giving my thoughts on how every player does in pre-season, watching the game with you guys, and transfer news. So I'm just going to plug the channel. So if you are new, please subscribe down below and all of that. And please do vote for me in the Football Content Awards. A link to that is in the description and all of that. But as you can see, I've lost the link. Up we move. This is the link here, and then that's the awards you can vote me for. Which position will Donny play next season? Donny will play as a box-to-box, I believe. You know, we saw, this is the thing, I worry about Donny van der Beek's game time. I worry about how much game time Donny van der Beek will get next season. But when I look at it, we saw towards the end of last season, we haven't had to rotate because of the stupid fixture list. But towards the end of last season, we did see Donny van der Beek kind of playing as a box-to-box and Matic playing as a CDM. We saw it versus Leicester, we saw it versus Wolves. That was a 4-3-3. We saw a 4-3-3 in a couple of the unimportant games last season. Now, we know that Ollie wants to play a 4-3-3 this season. He tried it out versus QPR in the friendly, but it didn't work because Matic isn't really up to that level anymore, and James Garner isn't quite ready to hold on his own, but he did have Pereira at support, and it was just fucking atrocious. We conceded 3 goals. We know how important a CDM is. United need a CDM. The thing is, what was the question? Yeah. If United sign a CDM, I could see Donny getting more game time in a box-to-box role because it would be CDM, Pogba, Bruno, or CDM then Donny, Bruno. So I think Donny's game time honestly depends on getting a CDM because weirdly enough, if you sign a CDM, another midfielder, I think Donny gets more game time if it's a CDM because he doesn't want to play Donny in a pivot. He wants to play Donny as a box-to-box, and Donny's best position is a box-to-box. Someone's asked me when will Ronaldo return to Manchester United. Personally, I don't believe that Ronaldo will return to Manchester United. I don't think he's going to come back, you know, because Cavani's staying on a year. I don't think Ronaldo will ever return. Robert says, hi Alice, you say Man United need a CDM, so Ollie will play boring football and use a 4-2-3-1 formation. If Ollie doesn't get a CDM, we could see the 4-2-3-1 again. Ahmad should stay in the club and not go on loan because the season is too long, possibly. I think if we sell Daniel James, then keep Ahmad. But if we keep Daniel James at Matter and they're going to play ahead of Ahmad, he needs the loan. And all of that. Sorry, voice is going. William, Garner and Axel need a loan. Yeah, I think Axel Tuanzebe actually could offer more than Lindelof. Oh, my voice is going. I think Axel Tuanzebe could generally offer more than Lindelof, but you just know what it is. Thank you, Daniel, for voting me for the Football Content Awards a couple of days ago. A link to that is in the description, what awards I can win, and the link to vote for me is in the description. So please do that, as well as liking and subscribing and all of that. And Robert says, Alice, Man United should just play Donny as central midfielder and get rid of Pogba ASAP. At the end of the day, to be fair, Pogba, Donny, McTominay and Fred are all box-to-box midfielders. So if you get rid of Pogba and you sign a CDM like Declan Rice, I generally think it could benefit us because you get the best out of Donny, best out of Fred, and best out of McTominay. Because if we don't sign a CDM, we could go back to McFred if Varane gets injured because McFred is Lindelof protection. And if we don't sign a CDM, we have to see Pogba in a pivot, and he's not at his best in a pivot. And do you know what I mean? And I do worry. I think like if we sign a CDM, we can play this top football. You know, post-lockdown Manchester United 4-3-3, Matic, Pogba, Bruno is what we want to see. Matic can't do that anymore. We also have Varane, so we're going to concede less goals than we have Maguire and Lindelof at the back. I think we really do need that CDM, and we could go back to that 4-3-3. Like that's what I really do hope we do, but. Again, like Camavinga obviously isn't the out-and-out CDM. He can't hold on his own, but Camavinga's the CDM we're most likely to get if Paul Pogba stays, because obviously you've got 1 year left on his deal. It's very, very affordable, but I think us getting a CDM depends on outs. You know, Romano said it in May. We want Sancho number 1 priority. We want Varane number 2 priority. Our number 3 priority is a midfielder or backup right back, but it really depends on who leaves and joins the club. And, you know, Fabrizio Romano said that, but hopefully we do stuff. We are 20 subscribers away from 15.6k, 20 subs away from 15.6k. So please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Any questions to me, please do get them down below in the live chat. I'm going to try and read out and reply to as many questions as possible. So please do get them in the live chat and all of that. I think some of our wingers might have to wait till January to get loans because of Rashford's operation. Man United aren't taking any risk with Rashford's operation. I think we will be doing a few sales on the wing and loans on the wing in January. Now bringing Camavinga and Sancho, Varane and Neves would be awesome, says Mad Dog. I think Neves would be a good signing, but for me, he's not an out-and-out CDM. And if we want to play a CDM next season in a 4-3-3, I think we need an out-and-out CDM. Without a CDM, we're going to see McSauce play there, which may or may not work long term. I don't think it's going to work. I think McTominay is a box-to-box. Do you reckon we'll have a DM in the team before the Leeds match? No. I think if we sign a CDM, it will be late. I don't think they'll be back for the Leeds match, but they could be. You know, I'd be shocked. I think Varane and Sancho will be here in time for the Leeds match, but I think a CDM would silently need a week to adapt, so probably not. I would say Camavinga. Do you ever really thought we would get Varane? It still feels like I'm dreaming. You know what? I said, I believe we'll get Sancho. I said, I believe we'll go for Varane, but I said, I don't know if we'll get Varane. Because basically in May, I said I'm 50-50 on Varane to United. I think if Varane wants United, we'll get him. I said this. I can go. Look, if you subscribe to the channel, you know that I said this in May. I said if Varane wants to come to Manchester United, he will join Manchester United. The question is, we don't know if he wants to come. We don't know if he's using us for wages, or we don't know if he prefer a move to PSG. We knew Varane and PSG were in for Manchester United, and we knew Real Madrid wanted to keep him. And I said Varane will come to Manchester United if he wants to go to Manchester United. I said Varane will go to the club he wants to go to. Varane wanted to come to Manchester United. That's why we got Varane. And I was shocked that he wanted to come to Manchester United. You know, he could have stayed at Real Madrid. He could have gone to PSG. But then the second PSG got Ramos, I said, well, Varane ain't going to PSG. And I went, well, it's between Man United and Madrid to sign Varane. And Madrid aren't going anywhere. Like, we are a better squad than Madrid. Like, let's be honest. Like, maybe not in 3 years' time we'll be a better squad, and we weren't 3 years ago. But right now we have a better team than Madrid. Like, La Liga in the mud. And I am not surprised anymore. I said Varane will go to where he wants to go. But at first, I didn't know if it was Manchester United or not. You know, but it feels mad that we actually got Varane. Like, the Varane deal is 100% done. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed the Varane deal is 100% done, which is absolutely mad. We've got over 200 people watching, so please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe down below to the channel. I do daily Manchester United live streams, keeping you up to date with all the latest news and transfer news, so please do subscribe. We might be live tonight to talk about Camavinga news. There could be a Camavinga update from Fabrizio Romano tonight, so if that does happen, there will be a live stream tonight, by the way. And also, I will be live tomorrow night for Manchester United versus Brentford pre-season watch-along. So I'll be doing a watch-along to Man United versus Brentford. Then I'll be giving you my reaction or thoughts on how the players played. Varane and Sancho will not be involved in tomorrow's game versus Brentford, but Sancho could be involved as early as the Preston North End pre-season friendly, and Varane could be involved in the Everton pre-season friendly, but they will not be involved in the match tomorrow. So Varane and Sancho will not be on the team sheet. Varane is probably going to fly out to Manchester in the next 24 hours to have to quarantine, then do his medical and be announced next week. But Sancho will be back in Manchester United training in the next coming days. So will Rashford. Rob Dawson from ESPN says Eric White will seek clarification over his future at Manchester United because Man United have now reached a deal with Varane. So Varane could be going, and apparently Maguire and Lindelof do remain key in Solskjaer's plans, with Axel Tuanzebe set to seek a move, permanent or temporary, ahead of the new season. Newcastle have registered interest in Tuanzebe. Mengi is also wanted on loan by a host of Championship clubs. So regarding centre-backs, Lindelof will stay in the plans. Okay, boom. Tuanzebe's going to leave. Bailly wants to know if he's going to get game time or not. If Tuanzebe goes, I would keep Bailly around, just because if Varane gets injured, then you're just down to Maguire and Lindelof. personally, because Phil Jones does not count. Mengi will be going out on loan. Phil Jones will hopefully be sold. That is the centre-back situation, but Maguire and Varane will be our first 2 choice centre-backs next season. Grealish to Man City is apparently imminent, which is a little bit frustrating. And for all of you joining the live stream, Varane to United is 100% done. We now need to focus on some outs, but we also do want to bring in a midfielder by the end of the transfer window. We also do have our eye on Kieran Trippier. That is the news. But the Varane is 100% done. He will fly out to Manchester in the next 24 hours. He might have to quarantine for up to 5 days before he can do his medical. His medical was planned for tomorrow, but that might not be the case because of quarantine rules. And he will be announced as a Manchester United player next week. So for all of you wondering about Varane, I just want to repeat myself and say that a couple of times for all you people joining the live stream. Any questions for me, please do hit that like button, and of course subscribe down below to ATLETIC to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. We are 7 likes away from 200 likes, so keep smashing that like button. And there's a link in my description to the Football Content Awards. So it'd be awesome if you could vote me for the Football Content Awards as well. A link to that in the description. I qualify for Best New Content Creator, Best Young Content Creator, and Best Individual Content Creator. So please do vote for me in the Football Content Awards as well. Link to that is in the description. And of course, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news. 2 more likes to 200 likes, so smash that like button. Let's see if we can hit 200 likes. I think Neves will be a late buy. We'll have no choice. I do think we will sign a midfielder, but I do think this midfielder we sign depends on how much money we get on in outs and what happens with Paul Pogba. You know, we are also 9 subscribers away from 15.6k. 9 subs away from 15.6k. So, you know, subscribe. We're 9 subs away from 15.6k. So please do subscribe. Let's see if we can hit that by the end of the live stream. I know I'm plugging the channel, but I like to plug the channel. What can I say? Ethan says we've got to bring in Sal Niguez. I would take Sal Niguez, and there's a possibility Sal Niguez could come to the Premier League. Because obviously La Liga are in the mud with financial stuff, and if that falls through. But I keep an eye on the Sal Niguez stuff, but I'm not, you know, I don't think it's going to happen. I said I was very confident Sancho would happen. I said if Varane wants to come to Manchester United, it will happen. I said that in May. I said Camavinga's likely because of the Pogba situation, but I think it's a 50-50 with Aston Madrid. But with Sal Niguez, I'm not that confident it will happen. I'm not that confident it will happen. And do you think there's any truth in the rumours for Martial, Haaland swap plus cash? I don't think there's any truth in that because I'm 90% certain that Haaland will go to Chelsea this summer. I don't think Dortmund can say no for the amount of money that Chelsea is offering, if you want my honest opinion. So the centre-back options next season at Manchester United are believed to be Varane, Maguire, Lindelof and Bailly. They will be our 4 centre-backs, with Jones and Tuanzebe going out and Mengi going out on loan. I think we're going to hear a lot about Camavinga in the next few days. I think Romano said he's going to do a Camavinga update. And Fabrizio Romano said last week, Manchester United is still interested in Camavinga. They have held talks with Rennes and Camavinga's agents. Rennes will have to sell Camavinga, but Manchester United have been so focused on Varane that they will address the Camavinga situation after the Varane deal was done. Now, that's what Romano said last week. There are rumours that Camavinga will prefer Madrid, but I'm sure we're going to get a Camavinga update maybe today, maybe tomorrow from Romano. So I will be live again later if there's anything relevant regarding Camavinga to Manchester United, because I think Camavinga and Trippier will be the 2 deals that are most likely to be linked to next and all of that. Varane, well, what a top proven centre-back. Wow, what a significant signing. Wow, CDM to get us major trophies. I agree with Keith here. We are a CDM away from major trophies, especially if Ollie wants to play a 4-3-3. We are definitely a CDM away from trophies. Solskjaer is essentially creating the 2008 4-3-3 front lineup in it. Love to see it. I mean, look, this is the thing, actually. What I want to do is let me build a lineup. How do I build lineup? This is it. I'm figuring out, if you look at how are Man United going to line up next season? So Solskjaer wants to play a 4-3-3. So Solskjaer wants to play a 4-3-3. So we'll probably say striker will probably be Cavani, and I think Greenwood will be backup striker. When I really think about it, I think Greenwood will be backup striker to Cavani, but you've also got Martial around. We know that Rashford would be the first choice left winger. Martial would probably be a backup left winger, and then followed by Daniel James as third choice, but even Sancho can play as a left winger. And we know Sancho's coming to be first choice right winger, and we know our second choice right winger would be Ahmad/Pellistri, because depending on, you know, who does who. So that's the front 3. So even, you know, you don't need Daniel James, Lingard or Mata in that front 3. You've got Sancho and Ahmad as the right wingers, and even Pellistri, but I think he's going to Alvarez on loan. You've got Cavani and Greenwood as the strikers, and Rashford and Martial as the left wingers. Bear in mind that Sancho can play as a left winger. Martial can play as a striker, so you can completely rotate that. Obviously, Bruno will be first choice as the cam in the 4-3-3, the more attacking player. Obviously, Pogba would probably be the first choice box-to-box, followed by Donny, I'd say, because I think Donny would do a better job than Fred McTominay in the box-to-box role, because we saw how good Donny and Matic was. But in terms of a CDM, our only actual CDM is Matic, unless we get Fred hold, because Fred's probably our best player at holding after Matic, which is a kind of weird situation. So we literally are a CDM away from having a great squad. And I'm going to show you something on my screen, guys. I'm going to show you something on my screen. So let me share my screen with you guys. One sec. Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? You can't see me. That's kind of annoying. You can't see me. But look at my screen. Yeah, look at my screen. Okay, this is Shaw. Okay, this is Tellez at left back. I'm going to show you what squad we could have next season. This is obviously Maguire. Oh, fucking hell, what's wrong with my typing? Oh, Lindelof is backup. But Lindelof's not a bad backup. Varane. And then a backup centre-back would be Bailly, because Toure, Xavier and Mengi are going, and fucking hell, Phil Jones better go. I think Henderson will be first choice according to rumours. Zaha will be my first choice, but according to rumours, Henderson's first choice. Okay, this is the squad for next season. This is a potential squad for next season, as you can see on my screen. Okay, there's only one X in there, and that is Matic. Obviously, Dalot, Trippier. I think there will be a backup right back. If we sell Dalot, it'll be Trippier. If we don't sell Dalot, it will be Dalot. But as you can see, Cavani and Greenwood are the strikers, but Martial can also be a striker. Rashford can also say striker. Sancho, Ahmad, and Pellistri can all cover the right wing. Sancho can also cover the left wing. Rashford can also cover the right wing. Greenwood can also cover the right wing. You've got Bruno. You've got Pogba followed by Donny. You've even got Fred and McTominay that can fill in there. You've got CDM and then Matic is backup. Shaw, Tellez, Maguire, Lindelof, Varane, Bailly, Wan-Bissaka. You know, this squad is stacked. The only place it's not stacked is that CDM role. You know, we don't need to keep Lingard because you can get 25 million for Lingard. You do not need to keep Daniel James. You can get 15 million for Daniel James. Because if I look at this lineup, Lingard and Daniel James don't even get here. The only way Lingard makes it is here, okay? And for Lingard's good enough to play week in, week out in the Premier League. He doesn't want to be second best, does he? Sell Lingard, 25 million. Sell Daniel James, 50 million. That's 40 million. 40 million gets you a CDM. I don't know, Basuma, 40 million. Tchouaméni, 40 million. Palhinha, 40 million. You know, Camavinga probably can't hold on his own. Either could Neves. But look, for the sake of this video, Basuma, 40 million. Sell Lingard, sell Daniel James, because they don't really get in there. That's what I think Manchester United should do. That's what I think Manchester United should do. Will we do it? I don't know. I don't know, because, you know, we need to sell the outs. And us getting a CDM really just depends on, you know, who we sell and all of that and stuff. But look, I'd like Jesse Lingard. I love Jesse Lingard. I'd love Jesse Lingard to stay and all of that. But he needs game time. We can get 25 million for him. We need to invest 25 million for him in a much needed CDM. At the end of the day, as much as I love Jesse Lingard, as much as I think he's a great player, for his career, he's not going to get game time at Man United next season. He's good enough to play week in, week out in the Premier League. We saw it at West Ham. He's good enough to be in that England squad. We saw it. Okay? And also, you know, a CDM will be more important to us next season than Jesse Lingard. As much as we all like Lingard, a CDM will be more important to us next season than Jesse Lingard, you know. We all know that. Look, this is what we can do, you know, what we can do next season. You sell Lingard, you sell James, that's 40 million, put it in Basuma there. I mean, and Basuma's just a player that I think can play as an out-and-out CDM for 40 million. You can get Neves, you could probably get Goretzka because he's got 1 year left. You can get Camavinga, you can get Sakari, you can get Tchouaméni, you can get Palhinha, you can get a lot of players. So it is what it is. And just as the DM is basically the main hole in the squad next summer, if Mason struggles through the middle, we could get a long-term number 9. Yeah, like we've got Mason, we've got Cavani, we've got Martial that can play the number 9 position. So I'm not too worried about a number 9 this summer. But I think next summer you'd be looking at getting a number 9 and maybe a backup right back, depending on the whole Dalot Trippier situation. But yeah, I 100% agree with Andrew's comment there. What app is that? It was just chosen 11. I just typed in build a lineup on Google. I'm not going to lie. And all of that. And 2018 was a 4-4-2. I mean, 2018 was mad, but we've got to adapt to a 4-3-3 for next season. Doesn't Rashford get shoulder surgery this week? I believe he does, but I think he will hold talks with Solskjaer about it. And Andrew says Cam apparently has the best defensive stats out of all our midfield targets. Need to see him more, but he could be amazing with his ceiling. I think Camavinga could mould into an out-and-out CDM. Same with James Garner, but I think when you're 18 years old, you can play in the pivot. But I don't think you can always hold on your own at 18 years of age. And I think you can get Camavinga in and you can play him in the pivot with Pogba. But I think if you want to play a 4-3-3, and if Ollie's serious about playing 4-3-3, I do think Ndidi would be the signing you want. Not that we're going to get Ndidi, but you get what I'm saying. But I do think Camavinga would be a fucking brilliant signing. But my only doubt with Camavinga is, will he get game time? Will he just play McFred over him? And is he ready to hold on his own? I think Camavinga could be moulded into an out-and-out CDM. His defensive stats are amazing. His tackles are amazing. I think Didier Deschamps compared him to Kante. Camavinga, Pogba in a pivot, fantastic. Camavinga could mould into that CDM. But I think if we really wanted to push for a title, yeah, I'd get Camavinga. But, I mean, if I could sign anyone, I'd sign Wilfred Ndidi. But let's be honest, that is never going to happen. But thank you, everyone, for tuning into today's live stream. I am going to wrap up the live stream now. If you joined the live stream quite late, just go to the beginning of the live stream. I talked about all the Varane details at the beginning of the live stream. But thank you, everyone, for tuning into today's live stream. The link in the description to vote me in the Football Content Awards for Best New Content Creator, Best Young Content Creator, and Best Content Creator for a Premier League club. So it'd be awesome if you could go vote me for that. Link in the description to do that. If I didn't answer any of your live chats, I will try and answer them in tonight or tomorrow's live stream. If we get a Camavinga update tonight or any relevant transfer news comes out tonight from reliable journalists, there will be a live stream tonight if any relevant news comes out. So there might be a live stream tonight, but I will definitely be live tomorrow for the Manchester United versus Brentford watch along. So please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today's live stream. If I didn't answer any of your live chats, I'm really sorry. I'll try and answer them in tonight's live stream or tomorrow's live stream. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks for tuning in the live chat. Thanks for support, guys. See you next time. I'm glad we signed Varane. Finally done. Bye.